On Global TV News Express, Supreme Court upholds Okpebholo's Edo victory. In business, Bitcoin reaches new all-time high of $112,000. On the foreign scene, Israeli strike kills a 15-year Gaza clinic, including children. In sports, Super Eagles intensify training ahead of CHAN 2025. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. Now the news in full. The Supreme Court has upheld the election of Senator Monday Okpebholo as the governor of Edo State, dismissing the appeal filed by People's Democratic Party PDP candidate Asue Ighodalo. A five-man panel led by Justice Lawal Garba ruled unanimously that the appellants failed to provide sufficient evidence of overvoting and non-compliance with the Electoral Act. The Apex Court also noted that the PDP only challenged results in 295 out of 4,515 polling units and that their witness did not substantially prove the case. It therefore affirmed earlier judgment of the tribunal and the Court of Appeal, which heard Okpebholo's victory. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party's Asue Ighodalo has condemned the Supreme Court's affirmation of Governor Okpebholo's election, describing judgment as a deep betrayal of the people's will. He alleged the 2025 poll was rigged in favor of the All Progressive Congress, insisting the Apex Court failed to deliver true justice, despite acknowledging the ruling as final. In an emotional statement, Ighodalo vowed not to retreat or forget the support of his followers, saying the struggle for a better Edo continues. The presidency has refuted ex-SGF boss Mustafa's claim that President Tinubu did not play a decisive role in Muhammadu Buhari's 2015 victory, calling it a distortion of political history. Presidential aide Temitope Ajayi said Tinubu's mobilization and influence during the 2014 APC primaries, especially among Southwest delegates, were critical to Buhari's emergence. He noted that the former Lagos governor's strategic alliance building ensured APC's electoral success and laid the foundation for the Buhari presidency. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has called for deeper economic relations between Nigeria and Morocco. During a meeting with Moroccan Ambassador Moha Al-Tagma, Akpabio lauded Morocco's growing investment presence in Nigeria, including a $1.5 billion fertilizer plant in Akwa Ibom. He announced the creation of Nigeria-Morocco Friendship Group in the National Assembly to further both parliamentary and commercial cooperation. Ambassador Tagma welcomed the gesture and invited Nigerian lawmakers to Morocco for further engagement. In another development, the Senate has directed a joint committee to probe the surge in fraudulent investment schemes following the 1.3 trillion naira collapse of the crypto bullion exchange, that is CBEX. Senator Adekotokunbo Abiru raised a motion citing the devastating psychological, social, and financial toll of CBEX, MBA Forex, and MMM on millions of Nigerians, warning of weak regulatory oversight. Lawmakers criticized the inaction of agencies like the Security and Exchange Commission, Central Bank of Nigeria, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and resolved to hold a public hearing and demand answer from relevant institutions within a month. Nigeria's First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu is reinforcing the push for women's inclusion in governance, describing it as an act of clarity but a recognition of competence and diversity. Her message was delivered during a special session of the National Assembly Open Week focus on gender representation. Our correspondent, Anita Patrick, has the report.
Gender-based violence, communal clashes, displacement from ancestral homes, acquisition of land, labor and working conditions have continued to devastate individuals, families and households, thereby affecting their overall physical, social, psychological and economic well-being. The Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, who was represented by the Coordinator, Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standards Enhancement Project, Benjamin Ukweja, said the project is centered to developing academy and certification programs to ensure practitioners in the social development, procurement and environment sectors of the economy project are equipped to meet the global standard as well as improve service delivery.
As you are aware, the social standards node of the STECI project is of particular interest to the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and the entirety of the Nigerian vulnerable and disadvantaged group, which the Ministry and her implementing partners on the social standards node of the STECI project are representing.
He says the federal government will not rest on its oars to ensure adequate implementation of all provisions of social development, procurement and environment sectors of the economic project's development objective, as well as contribute to increasing the supply of skilled workers.
As it continues to devastate individuals, families and households, thereby affecting their overall physical, social, psychological and economic well-being. It is most importantly for this reason that the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, and Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development will not rest on their oars.
The training, which is online, has undoubtedly become a vital tool in the 21st century, offering flexibility, accessibility to update knowledge given the widespread use of ICT. Sadia Yakubu Yahya, Global Television News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Plateau Security Challenges has invited Governor Caleb Mutfwang, former governor and other key stakeholders to a conference aimed at addressing ongoing violence in the state. Chairman of the committee, Dr. Wali Hamid, said that the forum will facilitate inclusive dialogue and policy development to stop the killings. He added that stakeholders are encouraged to submit memoranda to support the committee's work. The event follows parliamentary motions on repeated attacks in communities across Bokos, Bassa and Mangu local government areas. In a bid to address capacity gaps in social standards operation in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has organized a capacity building workshop for the staff of the ministry and her implementing partners on the social standard node of the Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standard Enhancement Project. The Minister of Women Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, who was represented by the Coordinator Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standards Enhancement Project, Benjamin Ukweja, says the workshop aims to address the deficiencies which often impacted negatively on the development of communities. Sadiat Yakubu has the details.
At a high-level engagement on constitutional reforms at the National Assembly, the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, emphasized the urgent need to increase women's participation in governance. Represented by the chairperson of the House Committee on Women Affairs, Honorable Kafilat Ogbara, the First Lady threw her weight behind the proposed constitutional amendment to reserve 10% of legislative seats for women and 5% for persons with disabilities.
As we reflect on Nigeria's democratic journey, we must be honest about where we are and where we bold to be. and where we need to go. The truth is that women remain significantly underrepresented in all levels of governance, despite making up nearly half of the population. This is not just a question of fairness, it is a matter of strengthening our democracy and deepening our national development.
This comes as Nigeria continues to fall short of the United Nations recommended 35% gender quota. Of the 469 lawmakers in the 10th Assembly, only 20 are women. In the 2023 general elections, just 48 of over 1,000 female candidates were elected to state assemblies, a mere 4.7% success rate. The session drew stakeholders from civil society, political parties, and the international development community, all calling for urgent legislative action to bridge the gender gap.
The 360 seats remain. What is being sought to be created in the special seats bill is additional seats that will increase women representation, either by the fact that these new seats are added or by their ability to contest with men in the existing 360 seats. So no seat is being taken away from any man. It's really that, as the minority leader, Right Honorable Kingsley Chinda, mentioned, it is, of course, very embarrassing to go to meetings internationally where Nigeria's votes are reduced simply because there are not enough women in those meetings.
The special seat bill is not a favor to women. It is a national necessity. It is a constitutional corrective long overdue to ensure democracy works for all citizens. It is about justice, representation, and the sustainable development of our dear country, Nigeria.
As constitutional amendments inch closer to reality, advocates say real change will depend not just on legislation, but on sustained political will and public support. Anie Tie, Patrick, Global Television News.
Leaders of major opposition parties in Benue State have aligned with the National Coalition through the launch of African Democratic Congress (ADC) in the state. This was accompanied by the inauguration of a 7-member pro-team leadership to reverse party registration at the ward and local government levels, pending the release of official guidelines from the National Secretariat. Benue State correspondent Felicity Ndere tells us more.
The unveiling of the Benue State chapter of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) held in Makurdi brought together a notable array of political heavyweights, signaling a united opposition front ahead of the 2027 general elections. Prominent attendees included former Governor Gabriel Soswam, House of Representative member Yowesi Hembe, and political activist Ihoto Ogbaji, among others. While addressing party loyalists, the pro-tem chairman of the ADC in Benue, Tengu Tegba, urged coalition members to rally behind the leadership in establishing a solid party structure across the state.
Officially resigned our membership of the People's Democratic Party and has declared for African Democratic Congress (ADC). Anybody of the legacy parties who want to be a member of the ADC is welcome into the ADC, including the governor. If he wants to join the ADC, we will welcome him, provided he satisfies the requirement of the party.
The interim national chairman of the party, Senator David Mark, represented at the event by Senator Gabriel Soswam, called on party members to own the party and elect their leadership the way they desire.
This party is a party for the people. It's not owned by anyone individuals. It's not the owner of ADC. The members is not the owner of any one of us maybe as leaders. So the party is for the people, is not for one person. So we want the people to own the party.
And we have thousands of members of PDP from all the nooks and crannies of this state that have moved into this party for one purpose only, and that purpose is to rescue Nigeria.
Coalition leaders asserted that an ADC-led government would present a viable alternative to what they termed the current administration's shortcomings in security, economic management, and national cohesion. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, Reporting for Global TV News.
Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo has met with United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, in Abuja, alongside immigration and ministry officials to discuss the U.S. government's revised visa rule for Nigerians. Tunji-Ojo described the engagement as constructive, saying both sides committed to stricter overstay control, improve data sharing, and enhance adherence to global immigration best practices. The U.S. Embassy had earlier announced that most non-immigrants and non-diplomatic visas issued to Nigerians will now be limited to single entry with a 3-month validity period. The federal government has commenced the 7th phase of mass trial for terrorism suspects at the Kenji facility in Niger State, with renewed emphasis on rule of law and justice. National Counter-Terrorism Center Coordinator Major General Adamu Laka said the trial reflects Nigeria's commitment to lawful counter-terrorism and the progress made in strengthening legal capacity. Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi commended the collaboration of security and legal stakeholders, noting that the trials are essential to holding suspects accountable while preserving due process. In another development, troops of Operation Hardin K have neutralized 24 insurgents during coordinated ambushes and clearance operations across Borno and Adamawa between July 4 and 9. Army spokesperson Captain Ruben Kanwagia said the operation, supported by the Air Force and local hunters, targeted terrorist supply routes and stronghold in Sambisa Forest, Magadali and surrounding areas. Recovered items include motorcycle, arms and logistic supply, with key hideout dismantled and life support structure destroyed as troops intensified pressure on ISWAP and Boko Haram fighters. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Bitcoin reaches new all-time high of $1,200. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports story on the other side of this break. Stay with us. In business, Bitcoin has climbed to a new all-time high of nearly $1,200,000, fueled by strong institutional demand and crypto-friendly United States policy under President Donald Trump. The cryptocurrency hit a peak of little below $112,000. Other digital assets also surged, with Ether reaching a 1-month high of $2,794.95. Trump Media and Technology Group is reportedly planning a crypto ETF, further boosting market optimism. The National Identity Management Commission, that is NIMC, says Nigeria's National Identification Number, NIN, database surged by 20% to 120 million as of June 2025, with over 10 million new entries this year alone. The Commission is deploying Youth Corps members under the World Enrollment Initiative to reach remote areas and hit a 95 registration target by December. Lagos, Kano, and Kaduna lead in enrollment figures, while 56.5% of the total enrollments are male and the rest female. Nigeria has secured a $747 million syndicated loan to fund Phase 1, Section 1 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. The 47.47 kilometer stretch runs from Victoria Island to Eleko village in Lagos. The Ministry of Finance says the financing reflects investors' confidence in Nigeria's economic reform. Hospital claim Israeli striker kills children near medical center. Al-Aqsa Mataya Hospital says least 15 Palestinians, including 8 children, have been killed in an early Israeli strike near a health center in Deir Bala, central Gaza. The victims were reportedly queuing for nutritional supplement when the strike occurred. The Israeli military confirmed targeting a Hamas operative in the area but acknowledged civilian casualties were under review. Despite ongoing ceasefire talks in Doha, a deal remains elusive. And on the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has hosted leaders of Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania and Senegal at the White House to discuss investment opportunities. Trump praised Africa's resource-rich nations and signaled the countries may avoid U.S. tariffs, pledging more economic collaboration during a state dining room lunch. Gabon and Senegal pitched for foreign direct investment in mining and tourism, while a broader African-U.S. summit is expected around the UN General Assembly in September. Now to the world of sports. Nigerian Super Falcons will seek early qualification to AFCON 2024 quarterfinals by 8 p.m. today, Nigeria time, as they face Botswana after a dominant 3-0 win over Tunisia in their Group B opener, with goals from Oshola, Babi Jede and Ihuzo securing a strong start. The team is confident of building momentum at the Lobby Zol Stadium in Casablanca. Coach Justin Madugo says the squad, blending experience and youth, is focused and injury-free as they aim to take each game as it comes. Nigerians Flying Eagles will kick off their 2024 WAFU B Under-20 Cup title defense today by 6 p.m. Nigerian time with a high-stake clash against host Ghana at the Pram Pram Center in Accra. Coach Aliu Zubairu's side, led by skipper Daniel Bami, are two-time defending champions and are using the tournament to build towards the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile. Group A also includes Benin Republic, while Group B features Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Niger and Togo, with the tournament running until July 23. Excitement is building in Ikene, Ogun State, where 28 Super Eagles B players are training for the 2025 African Nations Championship, which is called CHAN. The team is aiming for a success in the tournament scheduled for August in Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. Head coach Eric Chile released a 25-man provisional list. Players such as Undoka, Junior, and Eke Okon expressed confidence and gratitude, saying camp morale and intensity are high. Nigeria will face champion Senegal, Sudan and Congo in Group D. As Global TV News Express come to an end, here is a recap of our top stories. Supreme Court uphold Okpebolo's Edo victory. In business, Bitcoin reaches new all-time high of $1,200. On the foreign scene, Israeli strike kills 15 near Gaza clinic, including children. In sport, Super Eagles intensify training ahead of CHAN 2025. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo, Thank you for watching.